Hey everybody, Shadok here from SynergisticGaming. I know a lot of people are excited for Guild Wars 2, but not that many people who are excited actually played Guild Wars 1. Guild Wars 1's an older game, so it's understandable. The game's over 6 years old now. But the lore is going to follow in the footprints of Guild Wars 1, and there will be some other things in Guild Wars 1 that affect people's play in Guild Wars 2. So I figured I'd do a little series of videos relating the two games to try to get people ready for Guild Wars 2. First off, I'm going to go over the Hall of Monuments. So I will just show off my Hall of Monuments and talk a little bit about what that is exactly. Hall of Monuments is a reward system in the game for Guild Wars 2. You get achievements, you get items, titles, and they all can go into your Hall of Monuments, and they will give you different items and titles in Guild Wars 2. Basically, a lot of people in the game are going to have all the items because that takes 30 points. There are 50 total. The first 30 are pretty easy. The rest from then on get harder and harder the further you go. Believe me, it was very expensive to fill my Hall of Monuments completely, but I managed to do it. As a result, I received the highest title in Guild Wars 2 that you can get from your Hall of Monuments, called Champion of the Gods. There are, I'm not sure of the exact number, but quite a few titles. I think every 5 points gets you a title in Guild Wars 2, and the items include things like miniature pets, actual pets, weapons, armor, things like that. The first set of things you can put in your Hall of Monuments are weapons. There are tormented weapons, which are the most expensive. Oppressor, which are the second most expensive, but far less expensive than tormented, and then destroyer are even cheaper than those. You need to have at least one of each of these, and then you need to have a certain number in total of these types of weapons. Next up, there's armor. There are certain types of armor you need to have in your Hall of Monuments for points. Obsidian right here, the armor I'm actually wearing, is the most expensive of the armors, probably followed by Vabian right here, and then the rest each cost about 100k each, which is a decent chunk of money. And by the way, the sword and shield I have right now are tormented weapons. They're one of the few weapons in the game that have an animation to them. Next up, you have titles. There are quite a few titles in this game. You need to have a PvP title, and then I believe 40 titles total. Towards this, you can also complete elite areas, which is what all the statues I have up at the moment are actually for. But there is a long list of titles. These are the ones I happen to have. Not going to go through that list because it would take all day. But I've played this game since I was about 12 years old for about 6 years, so that's why I have all this stuff. Next up, you have heroes and pets. Basically, you capture certain elite pets. You get armor for your heroes, things like that, and that allows you to put them in a monument. And then last up, you have mini pets, probably one of the most expensive, although it doesn't seem like it. You need to have quite a few mini pets. I don't remember the exact number off the top of my head. I want to say 40. And once you buy all the cheap ones, it doesn't seem that bad until you get past that point where every single mini pet you have to buy is expensive because there just aren't enough cheap mini pets in the game. You get them mostly from birthday presents, but no one person could possibly get enough birthday presents to give them enough mini pets for their Hall of Monuments, so you do need to buy them. Now I'll just go over a few tips for people who play Guild Wars who want to get points in their Hall of Monuments. First off, the weapons. Destroyer weapons are pretty easy to get if you just do Dungeons and Die of the North. You'll get drops from chests that you can use to craft destroyer weapons, or you can buy them for about 50k at this point in time. Next are oppressor weapons. Just finish the War in Krita campaign, which you can do once you finish the first campaign of the game, Prophecies. and you will get one. Tormented, I would probably hold off on because they cost a couple 100k. So unless you know how to farm DOA, I would just wait on that one. Next up, armor. Armor, once again, is just one of those things that cost money. Go for faction armor, which is Luxon or Kurzik armor. That's pretty easy point right there. Elite Luxon or Kurzik, which you can buy near the end of the factions campaign, the second campaign. And then just some other Elite Sun Spear is probably the cheapest you can get. That'll give you another point, I believe, just for having those two armors. And just save your money and buy elite armor for your characters whenever. Titles, these are pretty grindy, but they do not cost money to work on. That's one of the upsides of these. Well, at least most of them don't cost money. All these titles right here, finished Underworld, Fisher of Woe, Urgaz's Warren, The Deep, and the Domain of Anguish. All of these can be accomplished without spending any money. You could probably get through all of them in a day if you had a team to do it with. You do not need to do these in hard mode. You can do them in normal mode. Those are some easy points right there. And then just go for bonuses on missions when you go through campaign, things like that, and you'll acquire quite a few titles. The armor. You can farm most of the armor pieces and you can capture all of the pets. This whole monument should be extremely easy to fill entirely. Just capture pets, look up what you need, find out where it is, go and capture it, and you can farm armor for your heroes doing competitive missions. It's pretty easy. It's a little time consuming, but it's definitely not that bad. And as for mini pets, just everything you get that you don't already have in your Hall of Monuments from presents, put it in your Hall of Monuments, and you'll get some points there. A lot of people at this point in time realize that going for 50 points is pointless if you don't already have it or you're not already close. So if you play the game and you don't have much in your Hall of Monuments, I would say just go for 30. Then you'll get all the items for Guild Wars 2. You can be happy. From then on, it's just prestige and grind. And also, the Rainbow Phoenix is something you will get if you get the Kind of a Big Deal title. Or People Know Me. I believe it's People Know Me, which means you have 10 max titles. I have 30 max titles on this. Excuse me. 30 max titles, or 31 actually, I believe. So this guy has been in here for quite a while. The Rainbow Phoenix can be tamed as a pet. It will be level 5 when you tame it. You can level it up to 20, use it wherever you go. It will only appear in your Hall of Monuments if you are by yourself when you enter. Anyone who has any questions about Hall of Monuments, if they don't understand something, if they want tips, I'm even willing to help people with some titles if they need it. Just comment, rate, and subscribe. Let me know if you like this video. Soon up, I will be having a video just going over the lore of Guild Wars 1 briefly for people that are not familiar with the game, so when you hop on to Guild Wars 2, you know what's going on. So thanks for watching, and once again, comment, rate, and subscribe.